showing up. But anyways, I just wanted to share something with you. One of the concepts that we have in the Bible is that the Torah is perpetual; it goes forever. Correct? But there are some parts of the Bible that we can't keep. Some of them do not even happen today, like stories with Abraham. Abraham is not living anymore, so that part of the Bible is not happening. Not only that, we got many, many commandments in the Torah that we can't keep today. A lot of them have to do with the temple, with Israel. So those parts of the Torah are not continuing forever. So how does that go along with the concept that the Torah says everything in the Bible is perpetual? So obviously there is many answers given. So one of the answers that we're going to actually study today is the fact that the spiritual side of it goes forever. Please, guys, I need your attention. Guys, please, just for 5 minutes. That's what I'm asking. 10 minutes. You see, the Torah has two parts. There is one part which is the physical things. You have to put on tefillin. You got to eat matzah on Pesach. So yeah, those sometimes don't exist forever. But there are spiritual parts of it, the lesson that we learn for life. So those spiritual sides, they always exist. They actually continue forever and ever. That's how actually the Torah is perpetual, goes forever. So you know what? All the stories that we have in the Bible with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, although they don't exist, but the lessons that we learn from the conduct continues forever. Come on, just wait for everybody to sit down. Thank you, guys. I love your hair. Awesome. But when you get married, you have to ask your wife how to style it. But it's really awesome. Okay, guys, let's start. We're in the middle of the lecture. Thank you. So anyways, please. See, one of the things that we're going to study is about sacrifices. This week's portion talks about bringing sacrifices. If somebody did a certain sin or whatever it was, if you wanted to bring a volunteering sacrifices, I don't want to send you out, please, guys. My third time. So what happens is it talks about different types of sacrifices we don't do these days. But actually, what's a concept of sacrifice? And we're going to talk about it today. And I really think it's very relevant. Honest to God, the spiritual side of it. You see, when it talks about sacrifices, the words in the Bible are Adam ki yakriv. Adam means a person. Ki yakriv means when he offers korban lashem, a sacrifice. Then the Torah says he has to bring mina behema from the animals. Yes. In Hebrew, Adam ki yakriv, a person that offers. Right? Ki yakriv korban lashem, a sacrifice. Then the Torah says mina behema, from animals, ox, goats, sheep, you can bring the sacrifice. But there's actually a twist to it. Yakriv has two meanings. It could mean to offer a sacrifice. How do you say to close in Hebrew? People that speak Hebrew, karov, exactly, means to be close. Yakriv means someone that wants to come close to God. What is it supposed to do? I really want to get close to God, right? I'm not religious, but I want to get close to God. What am I supposed to do to get close to God? So the Torah says, please, guys, Adam ki yakriv. Hi. This is our youngest member. He's awesome. Hi. Don't worry, we love you, man. Don't feel intimidated. You're welcome.
Mr. Lev.
You have wonderful parents. Anyways, hi guys. So going back, ki yakriv means if somebody wants to get close to God, what is he supposed to do? You want to get close to God, you got to sacrifice the animal inside you. Each one of us have a certain negative trait. That's the animal within us. What am I supposed to do? What is the animals that we have? So the Torah says one of the animals that he brought as a sacrifice was actually an ox. What's the character trait of an ox? A bull. The negative trait. I'm not saying the positive trait. What's the negative trait of a bull? It gores, right? Angry. So some of us, our evil inclination, our negative side is our anger. We have an ox. Then the other type of animal that we bring is actually a sheep. A sheep is not aggressive, but the Talmud says it's an animal that's, very, very shy. It always follows. Some of us, sometimes you might be embarrassed that you're Jewish or you have some good character traits. There's nothing to be embarrassed of. Today, you shouldn't be. Today, everybody has rights. I know, I say you should be proud. That's what I'm saying. You see, you have people that have all different types of rights, even most controversial, weird stuff. They have the rights. You got to honor them. You got to be politically correct, not to make them feel bad, even though there are things that is controversial. You could argue about it. To be a Jewish person, to be a good person, or whatever it is, there's nothing to be embarrassed of. So somebody who's embarrassed to put a mezuzah on his door because doesn't want to show that he's too Jewish, or let's say when he gets a chance to put on tefillin in middle of a mall, he's walking, a rabbi comes, would you like to put on tefillin today? Oh, no, I'm embarrassed. So that's the sheep side within us. Then you have the goat. A goat is a very stubborn animal. So sometimes people are stubborn in their ideas. So the Torah says you want to get close to God, that negative character trait, if you offer it, if you sacrifice it, you work on it, that's how you get close to God. That's what the Bible is teaching us. Whatever negative character we have, God wants us to work on it, either transform it to good or actually curb it, not to listen to it. Sometimes you have guys that are leaders, right? They could gather hundreds of people. They put their energy making disco parties, right? They bring thousands of people. Imagine this guy is going to change it, bring him to a lecture. It's the same trait. He's a leader. But instead of for, something which is either whatever, not holy or regular, he's going to change it to holiness. I'm just going to share one story with you. It's a beautiful story, then we're going to be finished. We do the raffles. It's going to be about a guy that controlled his anger. There was a man that his name was Mordechai Chernobyler. He was from city of Chernobyl, believe it or not. So he lived, where is Chernobyl? In Russia and Ukraine? In Russia, where the big, atomic, whatever, nuclear blew up was years ago. Anyway, so he was from Chernobyl. He was a very poor man. I don't mean poor like today's poor. It was really, really bad. He barely had dried bread and water to his house. His daughters got to an age that had to get married. There was no money. Today, you know what? The boy has to have money, I guess, in the Persian community at least. If he has no money, hard to find a match. In the olden days, the girl had to have money. Today is different, right? Anyways, the men are supposed to be the one that are a breadwinner. So what happens is his daughters were at the marriageable age. He had no money. Now Sukkah is coming, the holiday of Sukkot. People, besides sitting in Sukkah, what other mitzvah do we do on Sukkot? Besides sitting in the Sukkah? Besides the Sukkah, there's not a mitzvah that we do. There's something we hold in our hands. Anybody remembers? Arba minim, right? What do you say? The lulav and the etrog, you're supposed to hold in your hands. Now, in the olden days, in Europe, there was really no lulav and etrog. Only the rabbi of the synagogue would buy it, and the whole community would stand in line and actually come and make a blessing on it. So this guy, Rav Mordechai of Chernobyl, he decides to go and buy an etrog for himself, but he had no money. You know what he does? He had a pair of tefillin, that's what he prays with, and he pawned it. He went to a pawn shop and he said, listen, for the next 9 days, because it's a holiday, I'm not going to put on tefillin. And this tefillin was worth a lot because he got it from his grandfather, a very holy man. He says, I'm giving it, you give me money. If I bring it back after the holidays, I'll take my tefillin back. If not, you could sell it for whatever money you want. It's very, very precious. So the pawn shop guy was a Jew, I guess. He knew the value of it. He gives him the money. He comes home with such a beautiful etrog and lulav. He was so happy. Now, he had a miserable life, no food. So he comes home a day before Sukkot, and he's smiling. So the wife says, hey, what are you so much smiling about? You got money? So he says, no, I bought an etrog. So he says, where do you get the money from? You have nothing. He says, well, I pawned my tefillin. I went to a pawn shop, and I got the money. I bought the etrog. So the wife was furious. He says, we have nothing to eat. We don't have money for our daughters to get married. You went and he gave your tefillin to a pawn shop for 9 days because you wanted to buy etrog, and if you don't have the money, you're going to lose your tefillin too. She was so furious that she takes the etrog and throws it on the floor. Now, when the etrog breaks, what happens to it? Is it still kosher, or you have lost it? That's, you can't do a mitzvah with it. A broken thing is not kosher for the mitzvah, for the commandment. So he was really, really hurt. He doesn't have his tefillin anymore, and he doesn't have the etrog. But he did not scream, didn't say anything to his wife. They say, you know what, probably my wife is right too, because I shouldn't have done it. So that night he went to sleep. When he went to sleep, he had a dream from his grandfather. His grandfather came to his dream and he said, you know what, God had a lot of pleasure that you went and you pawned your tefillin to buy etrog. But the fact that you controlled your anger, you didn't scream at your wife, that gave even a bigger pleasure to God, more than your sacrificing of your tefillin. So you see, working on character traits, honestly, this is one of the hardest things. You see, in America, when we come to schools, or anywhere, any public school, again, there are wonderful things they teach us, but mostly they teach us how to accomplish, how to make money. They leave working on your character traits on your parents to teach you. And I'm saying schools usually don't teach character traits unless when you go to college, whatever, certain subjects, maybe they teach you. But here they teach you how to accomplish, how to make money, how to become somebody. But character traits, again, we get from our parents and ourselves. So this is a great lesson from this week's portion. How do we get close to God? By working on our character traits. Take our negative things, controlling them, or at least transform, or even better, transforming them to a positive character trait.